Hey my friends, it's Daniel Alley. Today I want to talk with you about 5 secrets that will help you to read much faster. Look, I believe that readers are leaders, and everything you can ever want to find is located within a book. There's been so many people who've been successful who've written out their formulas for success. And if you really wanted to learn from the greatest and the highest thinkers, you have to start reading more books. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 secrets that I personally use to read over 100 books every single year. So listen up. The first secret is to pick the books that you actually enjoy. I remember during high school, I would take certain English classes and my teachers would give me books that I just didn't want to read. You see, society has pushed us away from reading, and with the advent of the internet, it's getting even harder. Many people are confronted with information overload, and everywhere you look, there's content of all different kinds. But my friends, what I'm telling you is that if you understand the power of a book, then you'll understand how much you really need to read. So what kind of books do I recommend? Actually, I have a list in the description below of my top 50 books. Go and check it out. I know you will enjoy it. Also, I want you to know that I've written 3 books. You Are the Boss, The Winner's Lifestyle, and The Abundance Mentality. Guys, these books are incredible, so make sure to get them. They're always in a link in the description below. The second secret for reading faster is to study the table of contents. You see, many times we're going to look at the book cover. It's obvious. And then we're going to look at the back cover. And then we're probably going to read about the author section. But how many people actually look at the table of contents and understand what the book is actually about? You've got to know that every single author typically has one central idea that they put within their book. Now, many times authors will even put an outline within their table of contents so you know exactly what you're looking for in each chapter. Every time I open up a book and before I decide to read it, I make sure I look at the table of contents and I ask myself, what is the author really trying to say within this book? Once you grasp the central idea from understanding the table of contents, you can now take the third step. And the third tip to reading faster is to skim and scan. Now, when we're young, we're taught to read from cover to cover. We're taught that if we read every single word and every single page, we're going to understand everything that's within the book. But my friends, I want to tell you that it is impossible to read every single book in the world, let alone every page and let alone every word. Our libraries are paved with gold, and if you're trying to get the most gold out of each book, you're going to want to skim and scan by studying the table of contents and understanding what you want to get out of that book. Every time I decide to read a book, I tend to use my hands and fingers in order to guide me. So for instance, if I'm reading You Are the Boss, my first book that I ever wrote, I would open up to a page and I would use my hand in order to guide my words. Now, what I'm reading will typically be easier to understand because my hands will move faster than my eyes. And if I understand exactly what I'm trying to get out of this book, I understand that my attention will stop anytime I see an idea that catches my attention. Now, I've been teaching this method for many years now, and I've heard people object. And they've said, well, Daniel, aren't you really offending the author? They put in all this time and all this research and all this effort in order to produce a book, and you're just skimming and scanning their material. Well, my friends, I want you to know something that's very important. It is an honor to even open up someone else's book and to skim and scan it. You know, so many authors want to get their books out there, and if you just open up their book and you decide to look at the table of contents and you ask yourself consciously what the book is about, the author would actually feel honored. So you're not offending anyone by opening up their book and deciding to get the most out of the material that you find. The fourth secret to reading faster is to skip. Now this goes beyond skimming and scanning. And when you decide to skip, what you're basically doing is you're skipping parts that you're really not that interested in. Now let's say there's a 10-chapter book, and you only want to read chapters 4, 5, and 6. That means you can skip all the other chapters so that you can focus on those chapters because you know that that is the meat that is offered within the book. Like I said before, every single author has a central idea, and if you can locate exactly where that is by understanding the table of contents, then you're doing yourself a favor. Since I own my own publishing company, I want you to know this crucial secret. Whenever an author decides to publish a book, the publisher, usually a traditional publisher, will tell them to create filler pages. For example, let's say an author only has a 50-page manuscript, and they feel like that book is completed. Now the publisher will tell them that they need to create 150 pages extra in order to create a spine on the book and in order to put it on the shelf. You see, publishers know that in order to sell a book, it has to be relatively thick, and it usually has to have a spine. And that's why so many people end up writing more pages than they actually want to whenever they decide to publish their books. Now, of course, I personally don't have any filler pages because I chose to self-publish my book. And I knew that I had so much to say that every single word and every single page that you read will add value into your life. And the fifth and final secret to reading faster is to ask the question, what is it that I'm really trying to learn? Because in every single book, there's a skill or an idea or something that you really want to extract from that book. But you have to ask yourself, what kind of ideas do I desire? What information must I acquire? And when I read this book, what exactly am I trying to get out of it? Typically when I pick up a book, I tend to put a timeline as to how long I choose to read that book. For instance, let's say that I chose to read a 200-page book. It's a nonfiction book on business. When I look at this book, I ask myself, what exactly do I want to learn from this book? And I'll say to myself, you know what? This book only deserves 2 hours of my time. Now some people might say, well Daniel, how do you get the most out of reading a book in 2 hours? Well my friends, if you're focused within those 2 hours, you can get so much information from a book. And if you know exactly what you're looking for, then you will always be in a better situation when you're reading that book. So the next time you pick up a book, I want you to ask yourself, what am I trying to learn from this book? And how much time should I actually give it? Begin to use the skimming and scanning techniques and even decide to skip certain parts of that book. My friends, I just shared with you 5 secrets to reading faster. If you like this video, make sure to share it with someone else that you know that absolutely needs it. And also subscribe to my channel so I can continue adding more value into your life. Be sure to hit that notification button and also follow me on Instagram because I have so much more that I want to share with you. My friends, this is Daniel Alley. I look forward to helping you become the best version of yourself. So make sure to read as many books as you can and get as much knowledge as you want. Again, this is Daniel Alley, and I'll see you on the next video.